Hello guys, welcome back to Habitual Crypto. My name's Dan, and here on the channel we like to make good habits in trading. So if you like trading cryptocurrencies and finding the best strategies to do so, be sure to hit that like and subscribe button. Leave a comment, let me know what altcoins you guys are looking at and where you think this market is going in the next weeks, months, years. So with that, let's jump into the Bitcoin daily chart here. This is the entire bull cycle so far. And as you can see, we are below this purple line here, which is the 21-day moving average. This is kind of now the key metric we have to get above, the key level we have to get above to even think about this bull run starting again. I'd like to get above there and close a few daily candles and then start heading up to the 50-day moving average, which is the green line here. But if we zoom in, we can kind of get a better idea of what's going to happen in the short term here. Basically, we have been in an uptrend on the the 4-hour chart and anything below that time wise. But basically, since June 22nd, we've been kind of ranging back up, making higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, and now we seem to be making a higher low. We just broke a downtrend level in the past couple hours, so hopefully this will be a higher low that gets secured and we can start moving up to 38K. That's the next kind of high target I'm looking at. It is the weekend coming up, so there normally is some kind of crazy price action either way. If we do break down and we break this trend line that's been in play for a couple weeks now, what I am looking for, if I zoom out here, is a bounce off of this major trend line since the first capitulation here on May 19th. This is kind of the trend line I'm looking at. If we break down again past here, I do expect we're going to eventually come down and test this level around 27 between 27,000 and 28,000, depending on how long it takes to get down there. But we will see. We are currently above another major trend line, which hopefully will act as support. That basically lines up with our top on May 12th with the top we had back on June 15th. So this trend line I'm also looking at, we have been kind of riding that trend line, and if we can stay above it and continue to make support on it, I think the probability is that we are going to come up to test the 38,000. I think that is more probable at this point in time than us going down and testing the 28,000. So, but this is kind of the levels I'm looking at, a couple trend lines and a couple target areas for a bullish outcome and a bearish outcome in the short term. Long term, my analysis has not changed. I thought we would range in here for a couple months, which we have been doing, between 30 and 40K. And eventually, I think slowly but surely, we will start grinding back up and past that key resistance level of 42K. That to me, once we can break that and make support on it, that is going to be the signal to me that the final phase of this bull cycle is starting, and that and I believe we will get past all-time highs and we will get past 100K. So that's kind of what I'm looking at for the rest of this year. I think it could take a few more months before we're able to get back up past 42 and up to 50K. I'm looking between 1 and 2 months for that. But I think it will happen, and then I think towards fall, winter is when we're going to see new all-time highs and then start to head up to 100K. So that's my long-term projections for Bitcoin. We could take a look at Ethereum, since Ethereum has been doing pretty well lately. We are getting a nice bounce off the previous local top around $2,042. So we're getting a nice bounce there. We've also just broken in the past couple hours this downtrend that we've been in for a couple days. So we're getting a nice little hourly candle there, and we'll see if we can break this this key resistance again from back on June 7th. This has been a key resistance that we did break the other day, but have fallen below it again. So we want to get back above that and make nice support on there. And if we can do that, I think we're going to test, 2285 again. That's kind of the level I'm looking at as a more major resistance. We see we've found resistance here and also back on June 20th. So if we can break those two, if we can break that level, I think we are going to go up to test 2650 again. If we are unable to break those levels and we fall below $2,042 again, I think we are going to head down to this key 0.618 fib level at $1,723 to test that again. Those are kind of the short-term levels I'm looking at. Long-term, I think we will mainly follow Bitcoin, and Bitcoin's going to kind of lead the way in this market. Let's take a look at Bitcoin dominance. I talk a lot about Bitcoin dominance on this channel. This has been since the capitulation here on May 19th. You see we got a huge spike here from our low at 39.9, 39.8% Bitcoin dominance. And we eventually, within a few days, got all the way up to 48.4%. Since then, we saw a retracement, and then we came back up to test that level one more time, and now we've gotten rejected again. If we look short term here, we have broken this resistance that's been in play since June 10th. We've touched a few times there, and now we've broken it within the past 24 hours, and now we're coming back up and making resistance on it again. So if you're allocated mainly to altcoins, you might see some decent gains over the next couple days if between their Bitcoin pairing. So that's why I'd be looking at. We do have some support, which we're sitting at right now at 46.17%. You can see that's kind of where we had resistance here before. So we're kind of making support on there right now. So I think we're going to see where this is going within the next couple hours. Either we're able to hold it and come back up here to test 48% again, or if we lose this support, I do believe we're going to eventually come back down to 43.5 to 44% within the next few days, which could be very decent gains, even though it's just a couple percentage points on Bitcoin dominance. It could be decent gains on the altcoin Bitcoin pairings. So if you are allocated to altcoins, this is what you want to keep an eye on. All of my charts are available to view at any time in real time. There is a Discord link in my YouTube bio that will take you to my Discord to check out my link to my trading view charts. So feel free, it's totally free of charge to take a look at those. Keep an eye on those. With that, let's jump into one altcoin that I am looking at, and that is ADA. So let me go to we'll go to the 6-hour chart on ADA. This is the fib retracement for basically ADA's entire bull run so far. And you can see these levels are coming into play. We got nice bounces off of here 3 times now since the first capitulation on May 19th. And we found resistance up at the 0.236. And again, we're finding support on the 0.618. And now we did get back above the 0.5 fib level and looks like we're making some support on there. Now, the reason I like ADA is because not only is it holding up better than a lot of altcoins have been since we've had this dip, compared to most of the altcoins, ADA has been a stronger horse in the race, let's say. But there's also a lot of bullish news with ADA this month and next month. So that's kind of why I think ADA is a much less risky altcoin if you are looking to get into altcoins. Not financial advice, but I do like how ADA is being set up here. And with that, let's jump into the news because that's kind of what I wanted to talk about here. Let's start with Cardano here. So Greyscale has now added Cardano to its large cap fund. Now, this is big because there are not many cryptocurrencies in Greyscale's large cap fund, and Greyscale is the biggest investment fund, investment company in the crypto space. And as far as money that's been invested in their crypto funds. So in this large cap fund, 67% is in Bitcoin, 25% in Ethereum, and now third on the list, which was just added, is 4.25%, and that is Cardano. Now, you may say that's not a lot, but the only other coins in this fund are Bitcoin Cash, Litecoin, and Chainlink, and all 3 of them each only have about 1%. So they added Cardano in and gave it 4.25% right away. So I think this means, Greyscale has some pretty optimistic views on Cardano in the short and long term. So yeah, I like this news. This is good if you're a Cardano holder. This is bullish, and I think Cardano has been one of the best altcoins to have been invested in this bull cycle. Moving on, some good news for Ethereum holders. Anthony Scaramucci's Skybridge Capital launched an Ethereum fund. So they have already launched a Bitcoin fund, and they've already filed for a Bitcoin ETF and an Ethereum ETF with the SEC. So Anthony Scaramucci, very, very bullish on Bitcoin and crypto as a whole, and now showing that he's very, very interested in Ethereum too, and thinks it will be very, very profitable. So it is a private fund, but this is just showing he knows that big money institutional investors are very curious and interested in Ethereum. Otherwise, he wouldn't even bother setting up this fund. Some of the things he said was that we have a full commitment to crypto, and that basically he said, I just think it's one of those weird assets where the higher the prices go, the more people are going to be drawn into the pool. So most of the time, when prices start pumping higher and higher, a lot of investors, a lot of the smarter investors are like, I missed the boat. I'm not going to jump in now. I'm going to wait till prices go down. And, that does happen, like we're kind of seeing now. But with crypto, sometimes the more money being invested, because it's such a new asset, the safer investors feel about getting into it. Basically, when Bitcoin hit $1 trillion market cap, a lot of big investors found that it felt more secure because so much money is invested in it. It's not like it's going to die or anything like that. So I think he believes, the prices will start to go up soon, and long term they will multiply a lot, and people will continue gaining interest even though prices get higher and higher. That won't stop investors from getting in. So bullish news for Ethereum. And I did just want to talk about some charts I saw here. This was an article I found with some nice charts that I think really give a great summary of Bitcoin and where it is right now. So I'll kind of zoom in here. And first I want to talk about the Wyckoff accumulation schematic number 1. If you haven't heard about this, I don't really know where you've been in the crypto space, but this has been what a lot of traders, a lot of people are following now that the Wyckoff distribution pattern played out in April and May, where we, finalized that with this dip. And now people are looking at the accumulation pattern. And to be honest, this is playing out pretty much to a T. So I'm not denying anything. This isn't financial advice, but it's definitely something worth a look because of how accurate it is being at the moment. And maybe it's because so many traders are looking at it, it's becoming a self-fulfilling prophecy. But normally the Wyckoff patterns are what the big money uses to get their entries and to sell off their assets. So, but now retail is kind of in the loop. So, we're going to have to see what happens. Now, the price is staying on track, but now we're at a key moment where this is phase D here, where we're at in price. And basically, where we are right now, we're kind of getting a bounce a little bit. We're kind of stalling out here, and Bitcoin now needs to start heading up to 48K. That is the next step in this pattern. Otherwise, if we start heading down from here, this pattern is basically broken. You can't really argue that it's playing out if we start heading down, because that's not what this pattern does. Everything's played out kind of perfectly so far. So now is time for phase D, where we start heading up. So, if this does play out, maybe we're at the point where this bull cycle starts its final phase here. I'm kind of under the thinking that we still have a few more weeks, possibly even a month, before Bitcoin starts heading out gets past 42K, gets up to 50K, and so on. I think we're still a few weeks out from that, but I could be wrong, and I do think this will happen eventually. I just don't think it's going to happen right now. So we'll see, but keep an eye on that if you're interested in the Wyckoff accumulation patterns. This is the Puel multiple metric, and basically this is what when the miners are seeing good value versus bad value in Bitcoin, and when this happens, it kind of controls whether they're selling or buying or selling or accumulating the Bitcoin they mine. So historically, when we get down to these green levels, we have seen miners start to accumulate more because the value in selling it is not as good, and miners need to sell at points in time to cover their costs of mining. So we do see this dipping down into the green. So what this is telling me is the miners are going to start accumulating because it's not a great value for them to sell at this point in time. And most of the time, smart money follows the miners in this space and will start to accumulate as well. And once the accumulation starts happening, eventually price has no option but to start heading back up because there's not as much selling going on as there is buying. So this, historically, this has always been a good metric. We're going to have to see what happens. But another bullish metric for Bitcoin in the short and medium term here. So let's see here. Another metric I really liked was this is the short-term holders versus the long-term holders. So we'll look at the short-term holders first. And you can see here, since we capitulated, had this big dip in May, short-term holders have been selling their Bitcoin. Now you may say, oh, that's not great, until you look at the long-term holders chart, and they have been buying. So basically, all we're seeing is a transfer from the speculative paper hand traders, short-term traders, to the long-term diamond hand traders. And basically, the traders that are going to hold it are now accumulating more. So they're not planning on selling it. They believe in the long-term play. They believe this bull market, this bull cycle is not over. We're not entering a bear market right now. There's one more phase to this bull cycle, and they think that we are going to have higher highs here. So eventually, once this fully plays out, there's not going to be many short-term holders left to sell to the long-term holders. And again, the accumulation ends and the price starts heading up. So again, this is a very bullish signal for Bitcoin. Another bullish signal for Bitcoin. This is the positive and negative funding rates. So this is the black line is Bitcoin price. The red line is the funding rate. So basically long positions versus short positions on Bitcoin. And as you can see, once we dipped, the short positions started, we got into negative funding rates. The short positions were dominating. But now we're starting to peak up out of short positions, out of the negative funding into positive funding again. If we're able to maintain these levels, basically, once this holds for a while, we should start seeing, basically it's saying the sentiment for the futures trading is pretty neutral right now, but it's not negative anymore. So traders are starting to feel a little bit more bullish, have a little bit more bullish sentiment than what we have for the past month. And again, this is most likely leading up to us getting back up out of this range past 42K. So yeah, those are just the metrics I wanted to show you. Oh, I have one more metric, And this is the stock to flow deflection model. So let me zoom out here a little bit. So basically, if you're not familiar with the stock to flow model, look it up. It's basically a model that's been in play for about 10 years now, and it has pretty accurately predicted the price of Bitcoin at any given time based on the halving cycles and the supply of Bitcoin. Pretty much, it's predicting the price off of those metrics. So this is how far off the stock to flow model is at any point in time. So the red being the price is higher than the stock to flow model predicted, the green being the price is lower than the stock to flow model has predicted at that point in time. So as you can see, we are at all-time lows for how far low the price is compared to the stock to flow model's projection. And normally when we get this far off, there is a correction back to the right level, the right price that it's predicting we should be at. So we'll have to see what happens, but again, this is just another metric kind of saying we are going to start heading back up. So I am there's not every metric is perfect. Anything can be broken, but I'm just saying there are many metrics right now pointing to a bullish scenario for Bitcoin, especially in the medium to long term. Short term, we could still have a couple weeks of this, in my opinion, possibly another month, maybe 2 months, but I really don't see it lasting that long. But that's what I think. None of this is financial advice, but yeah, I'm pretty optimistic with Bitcoin in general. So yeah, I'm hoping we can get back up out of this range here eventually. And yeah, if you guys like the content, be sure to subscribe, give me a like, hit that alert icon if you want to get alerted when my videos go live, which is around noon Eastern every Monday through Friday. And also go follow me on TikTok at Habitual Crypto and Twitter at Habitual Crypto, where I'm starting to put out a lot of news and quick Bitcoin, Ethereum, Bitcoin dominance updates on those social media platforms as well. So go give me a follow and a like on those platforms too. And thank you guys for hanging out, checking out the video. Have a great weekend. Hopefully the price does not get too crazy this weekend and we just keep gradually going up here. That's what I'd like to see. Unless we just rocket past 42,000, that'd be great too. But yeah, have a great weekend, guys, and keep making good habits in trading.